Hey guys, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to better your odds in the October lull and whether or not we think it's a real thing or a myth. I'm going to let Alex lead this one off and let him go ahead and get this thing started. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Alex.
I think it's a myth, but it's got its good points. I mean, we've all had deer disappear in October and they go nocturnal. But it's not for the reasons we think. We just think it's there. That's what they do. Well, it's because of acorns, it's because of cover, it's because bucks are starting to ramp up for the rut. I mean, best way I could say if you're going to hunt in October in the low is if you can find where the acorns are hitting, find a good white oak flat that's starting to get a little bit of scrape line on it, you've probably got a strong shot of killing a deer, a good buck in daylight. But pressure's a main thing, and don't try to bust out your spots when you're
Oh yeah.
diving in like that. I
Yeah, don't
mean,
go in there and ruin your spot.
have have ways to jump around. You got to be mobile. I mean, if you're if you got two spots on the whole farm and you're like, but I want to go, it's a decent day, go on those high days, the high pressure days, and really optimize your opportunity.
So for me, I really think the October lull, if you can find the food source, if you already have an idea of where the deer are bedding at, and you can kind of get close to their home because I mean it's a lot hotter that time of year. So of course the deer ain't going to travel as far to get to
Yeah.
their food source. They're going to want to hit the most abundant, quick, easy, accessible food because now for one, all right, so everybody wants to say the October lull, October lull, October lull. It ain't the October lull, it's the hunting lull. And what I mean by that is they've went from February to October 1st with no human trafficking. And then next thing you know, you're literally ever brother, Jim, Ben, Tim, and Eddie are all going up in the woods, putting their human scent in the woods. So these bucks ain't going into this lull. They're just protecting themselves because they're starting to notice different stuff at their home.
Mm.
And you just got to figure out, like, hey, how can for me, mornings in October are a bust, or at least for me. It's
Yeah.
very hard to get into the woods in October in the mornings because, for one, most of your deer are feeding in that time you're walking in.
Yeah.
And then, not saying you ain't going to kill a deer at 8:30, 9 o'clock, but in October, it's not something that's really common, man. They're just
Yeah.
bedded down. You're going to kill that deer in your first 35 to an hour of the morning, and you go in and you bust that big buck up. Well, that hunt shot, like you've already spooked him out of his house. He's already boogered up. He's not going to come back around in that 30, 40 minutes. It ain't November.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I feel in October, if you find the water, find the food, find their beds, you can still be very successful on your hunts. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at a lot of people are very successful in October. I mean, you see how many people kill a big buck on opening day, and the reason they do that is they have them patterned.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, the pattern changes up a little bit, but they have an idea of, hey, this deer is bedded here. He's bedded in this greenbrier thicket, or he's bedded on this south side ridge or north side ridge, or he's bedded right here. But okay, what is he gonna eat and what time am I gonna catch him? Like you have to really at that point, instead of saying, I'm gonna go out and hunt 55 times and that's how I'm gonna kill a deer, that ain't necessarily the best thing to do. Instead of hunting 55 times, put that 55 hunts into 5 hunts, but make sure that you're very strategic about how you go into that hunt chasing that one buck. Not
Yeah.
saying you should only hunt 5 times in the month of October, but what I'm saying is
Don't go when
don't,
you have a doubt.
yeah. If you think, man, the wind ain't, if the conditions ain't perfect, don't go in there and bust up that big buck because you still have November.
Yeah.
And you have a better odd of killing him in November than you do October, just because of the whole fact of they're stupid during the rut, man, and you know that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody who hunts white-tailed deer understand that that buck, that is the one time that you can take advantage of him and
Yeah.
just go in there and smack him during the rut. But also, what a lot of people they say, well, it's October lull. I'm not going to waste my time with it. I use it for data to where I can see where the does are. Because the does still get up and feed in the beans. They still get up and go to the acorns. And they're also not traveling as far. But you get to find out, all right, I got does here, I got does here, and I got does here. Now, okay, I didn't kill no buck in October, and it's November. I know where the does are. So obviously, if you know where the does are, you know where there's going to be bucks. Now, it may not be the buck you're trying to harvest, but it could bring in a buck that you didn't know existed, and hey, he's a lot bigger than your number one target buck.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
mean, I go ahead.
no, I mean, I truly think it's a myth.
I think it is too. And I think a lot of people go wrong with like nobody does a lot of postseason scouting as we talked in the last pod.
Yep.
And they come into it in summer and they like to scout around in summer. Well, those deer, it's a small window, but they're transitioning into their fall patterns. They're not going to hit the same food sources. They're not going to bed the same most of the time because they got a lot more greenery to bed around. They'll bed in just a green thicket. But if you come back in November to that thicket, you can see clear through it because all the green's dead.
Yeah, and obviously, what a lot of people don't realize as well. So you got all these trail cameras and stuff out. So if you put 10 trail cameras out, you got 8 bait piles.
Mhm.
You are making a food source for them.
Yeah.
So they're going to bed appropriately to where your corn pile is, where this is. If you got this out, okay, come September 1, at least in the state of Virginia, that stuff's got to go up.
Yeah.
So now you're like, man,
They're completely
I
changing.
I ain't got no pictures on my trail camera. Well, obviously you don't, because 2 weeks ago you had the golden acorn on your camera and now it's
Mhm.
gone. So there you got to find food. They're not just coming to your trail camera to say, hey, this is where I really, really want to be. Now, for me, I feel like you should, yeah, run your 4 or 5 cameras on your property, especially in that June, July, August period, to
Oh, yeah.
where you got corn on them, 4 or 5 of them, just a few of them to say, okay, well, this is the buck I want. Like, all right, I know what's in the area. All right, so now I'm gonna run my other 4 or 5 cameras on natural trails. I'm gonna try to get them close to bedding areas. I'm gonna try to find natural food sources. And the reason I want to do that is that stuff's gonna be there in October. So
Yeah.
now I can base my success off of them 5 cameras that are in spots that are natural instead of I think everybody gets so discouraged and saying like, man, I had him in July on this camera all
Yeah.
year. Well, come on, dude. So did I, but he was eating a corn pile.
Yeah. And the bucks are just unpredictable in October. I mean, you might have them on camera on your natural route and they'll just disappear. It's because they're transitioning into the rut. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
they're just unpredictable. Don't let that get you down. I mean, I've done it too. I mean, have a deer on there all week and it comes time to hunt and he's gone. You get discouraged. You roll over, check your silk cam. You're like, I should even go, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
But it happens.
I'll give you for instance, I've missed 3 great bucks in October. And one of them I didn't know they existed. The other 2 bucks in October, I mean, patterned them. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
We had them coming to food source, coming to food source, coming to food source. I got a picture that I'll hopefully put somewhere in this episode of me drew back on that big wide 8 pointer. Like you can see the way the cell camera is pointed, you can see me drew back at the tree stand and the deer in the picture.
Yeah.
And I hit him in no man's land. I mean, I looked perfect, looked clean.
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, we got it. We tracked, we had a dog there, nothing. There was no deer to be found. We still, to this day, getting pictures. Well, I can't hunt that farm no more, but my father-in-law got pictures of that deer last year. I mean, he's nice, but he's wacky and he's got
Yeah.
some like weird curvage to his horns and stuff. But that was an October buck that I patterned. Another big
Yeah.
October buck. I only got 2 pictures of him.
Hmm.
That big 8 pointer that I missed. Um, I got him passing through a food plot at 9 o'clock. So just kind of when you get them pass by pictures, guys, like, all right, I mark all my cameras on Onyx. So I can, when I get that picture, I can go to that camera, I can zoom out on the map and say, where is this deer coming from? I'll kind of visualize myself being that buck, trying to think of the safest spot, the best spot for the win. Where can he stay hidden the most? Where is he going to have easy access to food source? And then I'm going to go in there and hunt that spot. And that's what I done with him. I went in there. I ended up seeing 4 shooter bucks in that spot that day, and a spike. And I was able to arrow the one, but I don't know, dude. I just
I mean,
plumb up
with
missed him.
yeah, October's just it's its own pickle. You can it can be your best time or it can be your worst time. It's just depending on how much you want to put in effort on it. And if you want to get out there and try to find where they're hunting or eating and bedding and being at, get out there and do it, but don't push it because you're going. If you push them in October, you're not going to see them like you do in November.
No, I mean, they're still, if you get that hot dough, yeah, they're going to be in there, but
Yeah,
it's going to be different. Like you made their safe area not safe no more.
yeah,
So maybe they was bedding on the back 40 of your property. Now they're bedding on your neighbor's back 40.
yeah,
And instead of you actually seeing that buck regular during your rut, now that buck has made, all right, this is my new home turf. He don't hunt. Maybe he just farms. That's all he does. All right.
mm,
That deer feels safe there. He knows what a tractor looks like. He knows there's no harm by that. All
yeah,
right. He finds a group of does over there. Them does drag him off to a different property. Buck's never to be seen again.
yeah.
Somebody half a mile down the road kills that buck because you put too much pressure in there. We're not saying go into their house, but it may be something that, all right, you think you know where a buck's bedded. Go in there, start creeping your way. I mean, every evening that you get the opportunity to go in there, maybe the first time you set up 300 yards away from him, see
Yeah.
if he comes to where you're at and make sure if you think that deer's bedded there, that your wind at no point in time of your hunt is going to be blown into his area. Find you a good access route. And then, so when you're sitting back, all right, your first hunt, you're 300 yards. Your next hunt, you go 200 yards. Your next hunt, you try to get that 100 yard, 150 yard mark. Just,
Hmm.
I mean, maybe you have to go in there an hour earlier than you usually like to in October, and it's hot in October. Just wear thin clothes and put on your hunting clothes
Yep.
once you get up into the tree. I mean, I do it when we go up into Ohio, dude, because you're hiking half a mile to 2 miles in, dude. And I tried the first time, like, to wear everything that I usually do.
Bad
Bruh,
mistake.
by the time I got to the tree, I was covered in sweat. I was like,
Yeah.
this ain't worth it. I was like, I don't even want to hunt no more.
Yeah.
So I think in October, the October lull is a myth because people don't want to, not saying people don't want to put in the effort, but people don't understand why their deer are disappearing. Your deer don't disappear. They're not
No.
showing on your cameras no more.
Hmm.
They may not even be on your property no more, but they're hanging around, especially that big buck that you've seen on your farm for 3 years. He likes something about your farm, or he
Yeah.
wouldn't have been there for 3 years.
But I mean, in that aspect, you can't get yourself down in October because the food sources are changing so much. I mean, you're thinking in summer they've had the same food source for 3 months. With acorn trees, it can change in a half a week. It can change every half a week, every 3 or 4 days. You think I've got them patterned right here on this red oak it's hitting.
Boom.
Oh, buddy, the candy shop over the hill, the white oaks dropping like nobody's business. They're over there now.
Yep.
That's why everybody gets discouraged because the deer are so just everywhere. They're
Yep.
just trying to find the right source of food, and it's just they'll love an acorn to the day they die, and they'll keep eating them like nobody's business. But a white oak's their candy, and they'll find if you can find a good hard white oak tree dropping,
Oh
you
yeah.
figured it out.
You're gonna find it. The deer are gonna be around, dude. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that hunting in October is not harder than hunting in November, but I
yeah,
feel like for you to have a successful November, you need to be in the woods in October as well. Because
yeah, because it gives you the intel.
you may not realize it, but like I said earlier, knowing where the does are is very, very important. So yeah, that buck that you had in July, maybe you don't get a chance at it in October. But guess what? Hey, now you know where there's 3 big groups of bedded does, and now, all
Mhm.
right, November rolls around. I'm gonna hunt near these doe bedding areas, and you have a good opportunity to kill that good buck.
Yeah. And don't get yourself discouraged on the one good buck too.
Oh yeah,
Because I've
because
I've got farms that I mean bucks summer on that they don't fall on winter on. It just happens.
oh yeah,
It's great
I
to see them on camera, but I ain't going to see them when deer season rolls around. I
no,
just know it.
yeah. I mean that's something we talked about in our one of our previous podcasts
Yeah,
or one of our previous episodes. It just bucks have summer farms and buck have fall farms,
yeah.
and I feel like the more does that you have on your farm, I think you can have too many does.
Oh, I'm all about doe patrol. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you got so many does on your farm, then it comes to the point where you don't get to see that true rut. And the reason why you don't see the true rut, they're still breeding, but why am I going to go chase Mary Lee around whenever I can go bed down with old Carrie over here? And
I got the cream of the crop.
I mean, that's the thing.
You know, and a lot of people's like that anymore, especially around here. Nobody likes to shoot does anymore,
Oh,
and
dude, I'm a firm believer in shooting some does.
oh, I love it.
Oh yeah, I
I
get
love
I like
it.
I like I said before, man. I get more excited shooting a doe than I would shooting a smaller buck.
Yeah,
I mean,
depending on what point of the season.
yeah, we definitely know that. Um, but I mean, the October lull, guys, we feel as if it can be very good on intel for you, and you can also turn it into harvest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be going up to Ohio this year to opening weekend. It's September this year, the end of September. So I'm gonna let y'all know. I guess that ain't technically the October lull,
Well, I
but
mean,
it's
it's
still the same patterns, man. I
I've
mean,
I mean a low is a low, and it don't matter if you're in Kentucky and your season opens up on the first part of September. A lot of the lows, not only the acorns and stuff, it's the pressure.
oh yeah,
So it can be 2 days after season opens in August.
yep,
Your pressure's up. You're in a low. You're not going to see your deer because they're just like you said earlier. They're not used to it. They've had 10 months of no contact with humans,
yep,
and now here we come in.
yep.
It's going to
And
change everything.
I mean, I I feel as if that them October times, dude. I've had some very, 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 very close calls, man. I mean, I have theoretically, dude, I think I should probably have an extra $4 or $5 on my wall just because of deer that I plumb up missed in October, got too
Mhm.
excited, rushed a shot, took a shot that was not the best shot in the world.
Yeah,
Because it's like the first 2 weeks, you've been practicing all summer for it, and then the moment comes and you're shaking like a leaf, dude. And
that happens to everybody.
it does, dude. I mean, everybody's gonna have
If
something
you ain't
happen.
shaking and you're just all bland after shooting that deer, what are you even out there for?
I mean, that's the thing. The excitement of the hunt, dude, is
Yeah,
maybe if you don't get a stick and arrow in them, hey, dude, when I have them big bucks walk out and like I think the shot time is coming and I can ease myself calm. And
hmm,
but then like if I don't get a shot and he walks away, boy, I will the whole tree will be shaking. If he decides to come back real quick,
oh
I
yeah,
pro- I probably wouldn't be able to draw back on him because I get so excited like it was almost there. Like I almost had it, but I missed my opportunity on it.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, for the October guys, I feel like for us, I would say our 3 points would be, I would say my first point would probably be food. Second point would be water. And my third point would be bedding. And I'll let Alex, if he wants to say what he thinks is
yeah. I've
important to
got. I
him.
mean, my three would probably be like you said, where I'm at. Find your acorns.
Yep.
You find a good acorn flat that's got a good start and scrape line on it. That's not hit hard. But
Yep.
getting hit. Hunt
Yep.
it. Hunt it right though. Don't push it. Just hunt it right.
Yep.
Their
Yep.
bedding's different. Their food sources are different. Just scout it out, but cautiously. Don't dive deep.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
mean,
that's
that's the
probably
thing,
my
dude.
three.
If you can find good glassing points on your property to sit there and just like observe the deer and see if you can figure out like where is that deer getting up from? Where is
Yeah.
he bedding at? What can I do to make my odds better?
Yeah.
Don't 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 put the don't give that buck. your the odds, man.
No.
Like putting your scent in there, like people don't realize people will literally look at the wind of the hunt. Like if I'm gonna be in the woods from 5 to 7, they're gonna say, all right, my wind from 5 to 7 is this. Look at your wind from 4 o'clock to
Mhm.
8 o'clock. Because you gotta walk in and you gotta walk out. And people don't realize that boogering up a deer walking out is just as bad as boogering one walking in.
Hey, and when you're in that stand, drop some milkweed. See what
Oh
them
yeah.
thermals do.
Oh yeah,
Your
man.
wind might be everything you want it to be, but if your thermals are pulling wrong, well, you better
Yep.
pack up shop. You're gonna screw yourself.
Yep. I mean, I'm gonna start. I've really never been I have not known enough about thermals yet to really get into it, but I've been
Yeah.
studying it, researching it, and I'm gonna really hunt the thermals more this year.
Hmm.
But I do watch these guys using thermals and watch them drop milkweed and whatever it is, however they
Yeah.
use. And I mean, they're successful doing it, dude. I mean,
Oh,
you,
everybody played the wind. That's what everybody's preach. Play the wind, play the wind, play the wind. You can play the wind, right? But if your thermals are still wrong, you might as well just throw that one in the trash because it's just not going to work.
yep, I agree. But we're gonna go ahead and cut this one off, guys. I think that's everything that me and Alex want to tell y'all about how to better your success in October. Um, and if y'all have anything else that y'all would like for us to talk about, hopefully we'll be having some good stuff coming up here soon with some of our podcasts and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
we got some hats in now, guys. Unfortunately, they're not up for sale yet because we're just trying to get some bulk order in before we start selling hats. And we appreciate y'all. If you got anything, Alex, you can go with it.
good. I appreciate y'all. Just keep listening, subscribe, and follow us.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good one.